go. I think I'm up. Thing was is that the primary YouTube server was not working. It's to OBS and some other shenanigans. Let me see if this works. Where are you at? Browser. Okay. All right. Hold on. About that. Copy. Change that to 350. Okay. I gotta change that chat box. Give me a hot minute. Let's see. There we go. That's fine. Come back up to here. All right, let's see if that does anything. Oh, there it is. Up at the top. All right. So I saw this article on, well, actually it wasn't an article, it was Styx Hexenhammer. It was a couple days ago. He came out with this. Oh, he talked about in Denmark, they're calling the mink herd over coronavirus mutation fears. And here's what the science says. I'm thinking like, oh, that's great. Now we got this. I was like, hell. But let's go over the article real quick before I drop off and come back on later. It says the Danish government has ordered the cull of the nation's entire farmed mink herd to stop the spread of SARS-CoV-2 after the scientists found a mutated strain of the virus in some of the animals. So what's the science behind the cull, and what does it mean for all of us? Well, I can tell you what it means. It's not good. It means, well, I mean, let's be honest here. I think people, for the most part, don't understand virology, which I understand. Not a lot of people understand it, but. If you understand why you get a flu shot every single year, that will make more sense to you. You see, the regular flu mutates in different parts of the world every year. It gets a little stronger, gets a little weaker, it lasts longer, it lasts less longer. And so you might get flu virus A-1, maybe in the southeastern part of the United States, or you might get the flu virus C-2 in the Pacific Northwest in the United States. Or basically you might get a different altogether in Europe. And the scientists figure this out or whatever, and you get it. And even then, if you get the vaccine for the flu virus, you may still get it because you may get a different mutation of that year's virus. That's what was explained to me. Let's move on. SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, is just one of the large family of the viruses called coronaviriddae. It is well known that the coronaviruses are able to infect many different types of species, their hosts. Members of the let's call it the COOF, are found in carnivores, rodents, ungulates, mammals with hooves, and even birds. And SARS-CoV-2, now the most famous member of the family, has transmitted readily in human populations. Finding the virus cropping up in other species has not been much of a surprise. Laboratory studies have shown that SARS-CoV-2 can infect monkeys, cats, ferrets, rabbits, foxes, hamsters, among others. And computational approaches have predicted an even wider range of hosts may be vulnerable. The term zoonotic, used to define animal-to-human transmission, is widely known. A less commonly used term is anthropootic infection, describing when humans pass pathogens back to animal species. But it is clear to human to animal transmission happens in many. Oh, hold on. It happens in many zoonotic pathogens, and SARS-CoV-2 is no exception. SARS, that one, genomes have been isolated from natural infections in dogs, cats, and even zoo lions and tigers. The number of genomes from animal reservoirs is expected to rise. Wow. Did you all know about this? Let me see if I can move this. Nope. I'll move you right there. There we go. Okay. Let's see. At the beginning of April, while battling the first waves of that coof across Europe, SARS-CoV-2 infections in minks were reported in the Netherlands. In Dutch mink farms, minks in close quarters provided a breeding ground for SARS-CoV-2 transmission, and many of the animals started to show a range of mild through to severe respiratory symptoms. Ding dong. By April 23, SARS-CoV-2 infections were confirmed not only in minks but also in farm workers, suggesting SARS-CoV-2 hopped back across the species barrier once more. Interesting. So we know, in this instance, that the virus transmits back and forth to humans to minks to minks to humans pretty easily. So what does that say about locking down the rest of the world? That doesn't really solve the problem, does it now? Stray cats on these farms were also found to have antibodies for SARS-CoV-2. As investigators were writing up their findings, a further 9 mink farms displayed similar outbreaks. On June 3rd, the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture announced a cull of all minks from the infected farms. Not a good day to be a mink. The situation in the Netherlands was only the beginning. Just as the SARS-CoV-2 hit human hard and fast, the virus spread to mink populations. Subsequent outbreaks followed in Spain, Sweden, Italy, the U.S., and Denmark. It is clear that SARS-CoV-2 transmits well in minks, and in cases of transmission back to mink farm workers, further culls have been necessary. Again, ain't a good day to be a mink. Genomes generated from SARS-CoV-2 virus sampled during these events support many introductions of SARS-CoV-2 from infected humans into mink populations with very subtly different lineages of virus and circulations on different farms. Poor minks. Oh, poor little guy. The latest reports of widespread outbreaks in Danish mink farms in northern Jutland are therefore nothing new. But with mounting evidence of mink infections spilling into human communities, the WHO reports 214 human-associated cases. Culls now brought into forests in Denmark are sadly a necessary intervention to contain transmission. Damn! Reports from Denmark have been accompanied by claims of new and dangerous mutations arising in a subset of mink SARS-CoV-2 spilling back into human circulation. But there's no evidence to date that human COVID-19 infections linked to the mink industry differ in their presentation or severity. Mutations are a natural part of viral evolution, and the vast majority are expected to have no impact. Just as SARS-CoV-2 mutates during human transmission, the same is true of minks, or indeed any other animal SARS-CoV-2 infections or effects. Researchers eagerly await the release of genomes generated from mink farms in North Jutland and all accompanying evidence to further study and characterize their possible impact. Press reports have particularly focused on a set of 4 changes seen in the spike protein. Now we're getting deep in the weeds. The part of the SARS-CoV-2 that locks on to host receptor cells, allowing the virus to enter. Viruses carry a specific set of changes seen in some mink infections have been identified in a handful of human cases known as cluster 5. But the functional impact of mutations reported in North Jutland are not yet well understood. Mutations in SARS-CoV-2 spike protein are not uncommon. We've seen them before, and have reached high frequency. At the same time, changes in the specific binding motif of this protein, whether arising in humans or minks, have the potential to alter recognition by the immune system, with possible implications for vaccine evasion. Wow. Think about that for a second. All viruses do this. They all mutate. Imagine this sort of reflecting on what humans are sort of going through right now. Wow. Unrelated changes in this region of SARS-CoV-2 have also been identified in human cases and are being closely studied and monitored. From now, we should be reassured that both this mutation and those identified in minks are still very rare in humans. Recent reports suggest cluster 5 is already extinct. Really? At the same time, mutations in minks may offer an important signpost as to how SARS-CoV-2 is adapting to infecting a new host. We probably missed this window of opportunity when it came to SARS-CoV-2's leap to human circulation towards the latter half of 2019. The genomic data from mink farm infections are providing a live stream showcasing what happens when SARS-CoV-2 enters and transmits in a new host. There may be many valuable lessons to come from studying such encounters. Interesting. So yeah, viruses change. Duh. It's probably good that people understand this. That what I think a lot of people, what they don't understand, especially with COVID-19, is that this particular virus is going to be with us and the human condition forever. Just like the Spanish flu. That Spanish flu that was the outbreak in the 1918s during World War I up until now. So the flu virus that we have now is an offshoot or mutation from the Spanish flu. Over the last 100 years, humans have sort of adapted to it and sort of developed certain immunities to certain mutations of that influenza virus. So that's what's happened with COVID-19. We don't shut down the world for just a flu virus. No. But I have to look at it this way. I do understand why governments are doing what they're doing, but I think they're overreacting because they don't want people to die. People are going to die, and it's a sad state of affairs. What you have to do is you got to keep people who've got comorbidity, people who've got diabetes, previous cancer bouts, they're overweight, they're old, they're infirmed. You need to keep them away from healthy people or who may have the coof. But again, this is all just my opinion, just looking at this, through from like a one over the world sort of view. But shutting down the economy, that's not the thing. We can adapt over this. If that requires mask wearing, which I don't necessarily agree with, if that calls for social distancing, no more live events like sports and music, etc., then okay. But at some point, the world is going to have to get over this crap and sort of adapt to it. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'm just a guy on the other side of the world speaking into a microphone and who's got a webcam showing my hands. All right, continue with my test. Let's see. Let's see what that does. All right, cool. All right. Well, I think I'll end it there. And let's see. Let's end it there. Go to this one. We'll end it there. And if you want to donate to the cause of my Subscribe Star, please feel free to do so. If you don't, no big deal. And we'll see